when I started telling people about my condition. I wasn't real open about it, and I'm making this video to be more open about my situation, my medical condition. I don't know why I have so much anxiety about this video. Okay. What's up, YouTube and other viewers of other medias? It's Aunt Mari here, and this week's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to hold back and do this huge introduction because there's no need. I'm going to hop right into it. I have hip dysplasia. And now you're probably wondering, what's hip dysplasia? I was born with both my hips dislocated. I've had this since the day I was born. My mom had it. I have it. There's a 34% chance that my daughter will have it. My case, particularly, is a little bit uncommon. I was diagnosed when I was 3 to 4 months old. My one hip did go back into place, but my left hip, it relocated itself, but it did not relocate the way the doctors wanted it to. So when I was 1.5 years old, I had my first surgery. These doctors' hopes ever since the first surgery has been to want to curve it over like this so it sits, my hip sits comfortably. So I had my first surgery. They told us that there was a 90% chance that it would be successful. Well, that leaves 10% chance for error. I fell into that 10% category. So I had another surgery. And again, there was always that small percentage. There's 95% chance that this will be successful. And I fell into the 5% category. So I had my third surgery. And fell into the small percentage category again. When I was in first grade, I had another hip surgery. So I remember after the surgery, they put you in this body cast because you want to jump around, you want to move, you want to hop right into being, you know, just like you were before surgery. And you can't do that. It's a long process. It's a slow process. I remember being in the hospital and being in so much pain and having to take all these medications. I've been going to my hip doctor annually ever since these surgeries, in between these surgeries. She told me that the only restrictions I ever had was I could not do the splits and I can't jump on trampolines because when I jump on the trampoline, it's the jarring of my hips. You can just imagine the jarring going like this. There was a threat that my hip might pop out of place. She told me not to let my disability get the best of me, and that I can go on living my life as long as I follow those two restrictions. As I advanced, I'm not the best dancer. Other girls advanced too, and they really pushed us to do the splits. I told my dance instructor that, you know, I couldn't do the splits because I had hip dysplasia. But ever since that day, that I remember going up in 3rd grade and telling my dance instructor that I can't do the splits because I have hip dysplasia and my doctor doesn't want me to pop my hip out of place. I've always kind of thought the concept that we were told in 8th grade when we were learning about poetry, and everyone kind of groaned. They're like, oh, poetry. My English teacher goes, the only reason you don't like poetry is because you don't understand it. I think a lot of dancers on my team just kind of look at me. They just kind of think that I'm getting out of it because I don't want to do it. I wish I could do the splits, and I can't, and I have to realize that. So I went home every night and I practiced my splits, and I pushed myself and pushed myself and pushed myself and told myself that I was going to get those splits because that's what I needed to do to be good on that team. And when I got them, and then my hip started to hurt. We went back to my hip doctor, and I told her that I was experiencing some pain, and she told me that I was wearing out my hip, and that's why my hip started to hurt. My doctor recommended this surgery. She said it's a brand new surgery, a new technology, and what they would do was they would completely cut into the hip bone. So they would cut in like this, and they would physically rotate it to make my hip proper. But I was too young, I wasn't done growing yet, and they told me that there wasn't a lot of successes yet, and they wanted me to wait, so I waited. So I waited another year, and this was a year ago. I went back to my hip doctor in February and told her that I was experiencing even more pain, and she told me that I have 80% flexibility in my right hip, which is my good hip, and 20% flexibility in my bad hip, the ones that I had 4 surgeries on. Doing certain things started to hurt me more and more. When I was in class and I sat down for a certain period of time, my hip would start to hurt. If I was walking in the hallway, if I was running, my hip would start to hurt. I'd get home from dance and I would start crying because my hip would start to hurt. And my doctor told me that that surgery that we talked about last year, there's been a lot more successes. And I'm done growing. This is as tall as I'm gonna get. I'm gonna be 5'3" for the rest of my life. And she told me that I would be a good candidate for this surgery. So when she did testing on me, she noticed that my bones hit each other. My hip hits another one. So she said that that'd be another surgery that she would recommend. So she referred us to a surgeon. So this all happened in April. And I was referred in March. We met up with a surgeon and he told me that I was a really good candidate. He walked us through the surgery, he walked us through the process. He showed us what I would do and he told me that there was a 6 to 9 month period where I couldn't do anything but recover. He told me that I'd be in crutches for 6 to 8 weeks and he told me that I'd have to take a year off of sports. And I was crushed. He told me that if I wanted to do the surgery, I had to prepare for it now. We needed to get it done as soon as possible. And they told me that I would for sure need a hip replacement in the future. When my hip I have now wears out, I have to have a hip replacement. And they told me that I have 5 to 10 years that they think this hip is gonna last. And the doctors don't do hip replacements until you're 30 to 35 years old. That pushes back a lot of goals I wanted to do. I have this dream of going to medical school and becoming a chemist or a doctor and helping other people like the people that have helped me. Or hoping this whole YouTube thing works out. After my surgeon talked us through the surgery, he told me that he needs to see how much cartilage I have in my hip and that would determine on what kind of cut he would make in my second surgery to make sure that my bones don't crash into each other anymore. In April 9th, I went in and had an MRI and a CT done, a CAT scan. After they scanned me, I went back home, and they called us a couple days later and told me that the surgeon looked at them and he thinks that it's good and we're a good go and start picking out dates for surgery. And they told me that I could do it May 11th of 2015 or sometime in August 2015. Right away they told us that I needed to get my hip surgery done as soon as possible because this is when my hip won't interfere with my schoolwork. I'll be out of school for a 2-week period, but that's not interfering with any big tests. If I did it in August, that 6 to 9 months recovery would push me into having some large standardized tests and I'd be missing a lot more school than I should have. So we scheduled my hip surgery for May 11th, 2015. The countdown has officially begun, and I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this surgery. This will be my 5th and my 6th surgery, and hopefully the 6th time's the charm. As soon as they told me about the surgery and that I'd be in the hospital for a week and I'd be at home for another week and I have to go back on crutches, I won't have the body cast. I'll go back on crutches. And my immediate thought was, I can't go to school. I can't go to school like that. This shouldn't get to me, and it does. And I have so much anxiety about this happening. Going to school on crutches and crutching around for the rest of the school year. I'll be back for school for 10 days and crutching around school for those 10 days. And people are going to look at me and they're going to be like, she's faking it. Why does she have crutches and there's no brace? Why does she have crutches? Why does she get to be late for her classes? Why does she get to leave these classes early? Why does she get to miss 2 weeks of school and all these tests? Why does she come back now on crutches? I don't even know how I'm supposed to prepare myself for what people are going to say or what people are going to think of me. I wanted to make this video to inform you, the viewers, in hopes that they could hopefully understand, that hopefully someone, hopefully you could understand what it is that I'm going through, what it is that this condition is, and how much that this condition has affected my life. Maybe those girls that give me glances, the people who give me glances and look at me for things that I'm not able to do, hopefully they can look at me now and say, oh, I never knew. And that's the thing, is no one ever knows. I don't want you to feel bad for me. I want you to exit this video feeling informed. You, the viewers, can go on this adventures with me. This adventure with me, the 6 to 9 month adventure with me. And let's hope that it all turns out. Until next time. I'm so bad at editing my videos, oh my gosh.